She was not. It wasn't that the ladies hadn't been nice to Sophie since she and Thomas moved into the neighborhood. Most had been welcoming. Since the first day, actually, when a few of them brought a large welcome basket of wine and cheese and left it by the front door. It had a note attached. "Sorry we missed you. Dinner at the Parkers Friday night?" Before that first dinner at the Parkers, she'd changed outfits 3 times and ran to the bathroom to throw up twice, all before finally settling on a tweed blazer and dark blue jeans. Mindy Parker, who happened to work at the same hospital as Thomas, had put Sophie at ease right away, and she and Sophie had developed somewhat of a friendship since that night. Maybe it was the way her house looked. Clean but not perfect. Functional but not organized. Chocolate cookie crumbs and milk drops lingered on the kitchen counter and shouted that Mindy was not trying to impress anyone. Sophie envied that attitude. Mindy always let her 2-year-old twin girls say hello and goodnight to everyone before excusing herself to tuck them into bed. Mindy's friend Eva, however, wasn't as genuine. Sophie could picture her as an 8th grader, pointing and whispering at an unfortunate misfit unlucky enough to have inherited an older sibling's hand-me-downs. Sophie could feel Eva's eyes scanning her fashion selection whenever she walked into a room, and she always seemed a little too interested when Thomas told a story. Sophie wasn't normally the jealous type, but something about Eva's smile when she looked at him made her more than a little uncomfortable. While Thomas socialized with all of the husbands they had met in the neighborhood on occasion to play tennis or a round of golf, Mindy was the only relationship Sophie had cared to foster outside of the book club and other cursory social events. Even that friendship had gotten only so deep. The less people knew about her, the better. All the usual book club cars were present and accounted for when Sophie pulled her Land Rover behind Eva's brand-new red BMW. She could see Eva and 3 other women, all of whose names escaped Sophie, walking in, chatting with fast and flippy hand movements, and whispering about something Sophie wasn't quite sure she wanted to hear. Since no one ever seemed interested in discussing their assigned book, Sophie had turned the monthly meetings into planning events for her latest endeavor, a fund she had created for indigent children at St. John's Hospital. To raise money, she was planning a secret chef fundraiser that she described as a soon-to-be annual wine and food tasting event that will boast the most culinary, delectable dishes ever served in the South. The chefs and their restaurants will surprise the highest bidders with sensational award packages sure to satisfy even the pickiest palates, or something along those lines. Sophie fine-tuned her pitch as she grabbed her laptop out of the back of her SUV. "Did you hear about Stephen?" Eva said, before she had a chance to set down her bag or take off her jacket. Sophie, not sure if Eva meant to include her, didn't immediately respond. "Did you hear me? Did you hear what's going on with Stephen?" Sophie didn't want to appear to be out of the loop, or to give Eva the satisfaction of knowing about whatever was happening first, so she quickly replied, "Yes, heard about it last night. Thomas told me. I can't believe it." A calculated response, since she had no idea what was going on with Stephen. But one thing she knew for sure. Eva loved to be the first to give details. "Well, for those of you who don't know," Eva launched into the gossip without taking a breath, "Stephen moved out. Mindy is devastated. They just put in a pool and all." One bejeweled hand flipped her shiny hair over her shoulder. "I can't totally blame him. Have you seen Mindy lately? Not exactly keeping herself up. Never met an ice cream cone she didn't like." All the ladies but Sophie laughed. She didn't run to Mindy's defense, but she didn't laugh. Did she get credit for partial loyalty? She hadn't talked to Mindy for a couple weeks, and granted, their conversations weren't all that deep, but problems with Stephen, she had no idea. "Ready to get started?" Kate, the hostess for the day, said while narrowing her eyes in Eva's direction. She handed Sophie a mimosa and then suddenly motioned for her to turn the conversation away from Mindy's personal life. Sophie pulled out her laptop and began to go